Hi, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. And today, what I wanted to talk to you about were some of the typical expenses you might come across as you bring your book to market. You sat down, you spent a lot of time writing that book. Um, Now you actually want to sell it, but there are a couple steps you need to take to get there. So before we get into the legitimate expenses, I should probably give a warning out about the illegitimate expenses, the things you should never shell money for. And there really is just like one at the top of that list. Never ever pay somebody to publish your book. This is a fairly new industry, self-publishing, and as such, there's been a lot of side industries that have sprung up around it. And unfortunately, that includes a lot of just scummy or borderline scam industries. And probably one of the biggest there is, hey, come in here. We have different tiers of service. We have our normal publishing package for $500, but hey, spend $500 more and we'll give you our bestseller package. So you're going to pay us. We're going to edit your book. We're going to put a cover on it, and then we're going to publish it. Oh, and we're going to pay you out a percentage of those royalties. Not going to be the percentage that you're going to get if you want to do it yourself, but it's going to be a percentage nevertheless. Don't do this. First of all, any contract like that, you should have a lawyer read. Doing so, you run a lot of risks. One, those places are making their money off of your upfront payment, not off of the fact that they're a legitimate publisher trying to make it off of sales. Two, buyer beware, but I've heard enough stories that the edits and the covers they're going to put on there are going to be mediocre at best. And then three, and probably worst of all, chances are you're signing away your publishing rights to them. You're signing over your publishing rights, which basically means they can publish your book for X number of years. You can't do anything about that. Any money you make marketing it, I guarantee you're going to be marketing it all yourself because they've already made their cash. They're not going to care. They're going to be taking the far larger share of that. So that's really not something you should be paying for. A legitimate publisher will not charge you that. Whether large or small, a legitimate publisher, they may or may not give you an advance when they sign you on. That's dependent on a lot of factors. But they'll take on the risk of editing your book, of putting a good cover on your book, and probably doing some marketing, although you will be expected, unless you're a major #1 New York Times bestseller, in which case I assume you're probably not watching this video. But in that case, with the exception of that case, you're going to be expected to do some marketing. But they're taking on that risk and that expense for your book to try to sell it, and that's why they're getting that bigger percentage of the price of the royalties and such. Anybody who's putting it out there that, hey, we want you to pay us for the privilege of doing this, run, don't walk. Now, you might be saying, yeah, but how else am I supposed to get this done? I don't have any technical skills. I wrote a story. I can barely use Word. I don't know Photoshop. I have no idea how to format for Kindle or any of the other bookstores. How else is this supposed to get done? Well, there is a legitimate, subculture, sub businesses out. I won't call them sub businesses. There's a legitimate string of actual businesses out there with freelancers who will do this stuff for a price. There are people out there who they'll edit your book, they'll proofread it, they'll create a great cover. Some of them will format it, and some of them will load it up there or assist you in loading it up there yourself. The beauty there is you're paying them as contractors. They're doing a job, and then they're done. You still own the rights to your book. You're getting the lion's share of the price when it sells. Whatever percentage you've agreed to, that 35%, 70%, whatever tier you've signed up for on Amazon and the other sellers. Now, how do you find these folks? Well, Google is your friend. That's one place to start. But also look at writing communities. Two I'll name: kboards.com. Their Writers Cafe. They have a yellow pages there where these people can advertise their businesses. If you're on Facebook, the Indie Author Group also maintains a list of folks who provide various services. Once you find these people, check out their websites, check out their work, see if they'll provide any samples, sample edits. Cover-wise, they should have a portfolio up there. If they do formatting, hey, take a look at ebooks they formatted before. Ask for references. Do all the things you would do if you were hiring a contractor for any job. References, see their work, see if they'll do any sample. Sometimes you can negotiate, sometimes you can't, regardless. But pick somebody who will work for you, and make sure they deliver. So that's kind of like that. I mean, now as far as what are things that you can reasonably look to spend money on, well, editing is the number one. There's different levels of editing, but I'd say two of the more common: copy editing, line editing, and then you have proofreading, which is taking your book and making sure it's typo free, and grammatically correct. Moving away from that, you want to have an eye-catching cover, and you want to have one that looks professional. And then there's the concept of formatting, whether for ebook or print. Now, it's hard for me to give you a price range on this. It's variable depending on the experience of the person who's doing it, what you're asking them to do, all of that stuff. I can say for the last couple books I've put out there, I've spent maybe about $2,000 in total each to bring them to market. Which so that's copy editing, that's proofreading, and that's covers. I do my own formatting myself. That doesn't mean I will continue to do it. The more you hire out with regards to that, the more time it does give you to concentrate on writing. So that is a potential thing I might look at in the future. But at the same time, if that sounds daunting, $2,000 is a lot of money for a book. That being said, I find the investment well worth it. It allows me to put out a professional grade product, not a mediocre, definitely not a poor product, not even a good product. I want to put out a great product. Now, if the writing sucks, that's on me. But the rest of it, I want to surround myself with a winning team, and I have some good people I work with right now. If you go to my website, I link out to them. Hey, give Mallory, Megan, and Beth some business. That would be awesome. But anyway, yes, this is an investment. But once again, this is a business. I reinvest in it, and I keep an eye. I keep the books, so I see. Okay, is this investment worth it or not? And so far, I'm running pretty well in the black. That being said, you can pick and choose really amongst these. Just make sure you do it well. You can self-edit, most definitely. It does take time, and it takes multiple runs through a book. Don't sit there, read through it once, run through spell check, and assume your book is good. Chances are it's not. And a lot of people, they're really not good at self-editing. Some are, but it's a difficult thing. I started out self-editing, and if I could go back in time, I would definitely smack the crap out of myself because honestly, I was not very good at it. Covers, really, a lot of people will think, hey, I can download a freeware program like GIMP and grab a stock photo and throw a title on it, with Comic Sans or so, and that'll be a great cover. Honestly, it probably won't. You might be good at graphic design, but know your weaknesses. In my case, I'm pretty good with regards to Word. I'm pretty good with regards to HTML. That's why I do my own formatting. And I also keep plenty of devices around, my tablet, my phone, various emulators, so I can see what these books will look like before I put them out there, so I can make sure that I'm putting out a quality product. And that's really the key. If you're gonna save on the cash, put in the time. That none of this counts marketing. Marketing is always going to be a legitimate expense, but you also want to pay attention and make sure you're not doing it stupidly. Always keep spreadsheets, always keep track of ROI, your return on investment, and make sure that if you're spending in marketing, you're probably going to have some losers out there. There's nothing wrong with experimenting, but you always want to keep track of the places that are winning for you. Whether it's a BookBub, whether it's a Facebook ad or such. Items that you want to that you work on. They bring in a positive ROI you want to go back to again. These are all legitimate expenses. Once again, do you have to spend this? No. But if not, you want to put in the time and effort. This is not a magic formula. This is a business. There's a lot of hard work, and there will be expenses involved. Any legitimate business involves a lot of hard work and a lot of reinvestment. So I mentioned the scams. I mentioned the legitimate expenses. One final thing I want to mention is don't be part of the problem. Don't be a flippin' deadbeat, because there's plenty of those out there on the author side. I hear horror stories from good covers designers that, hey, I did this cover. This person said, hey, I'll pay you after the fact, and and then they disappeared, and this person did a lot of work for nothing. People who I've seen some dirtbags out there who take advantage of the fact that some editors give a sample chapter edit, and they'll go to multiple different editors and give them different chapters to essentially get a free edit of their book. Clever, but is it going to work for you in the end? No, because each editor has a different style. So good luck with that. Don't be a part of the problem. Now, this is not to say you should accept shoddy merchandise. If you go to a high-priced cover artist and they provide you something crappy, this is something you probably have a legitimate gripe. Any person worth their salt, takes their business professionally, will probably work with you, assuming you're not unreasonable to make you happy. But once again, don't contract somebody when you don't have the money and you have no idea how you're going to pay, and then hope that the money, the gods of money, rain upon you, and if they don't, disappear. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing this business any favors, because you're going to make those people wary about the next person who comes down. And quite frankly, we live in this is 2015. The internet exists, and quite frankly, people talk. If you're a deadbeat, to say an editor or cover artist, they're probably going to talk to their editor or cover artist friends in the industry and let them know that you're a deadbeat. So, what are you really gaining in the end? So those are the big things. Don't pay to publish. There are legitimate expenses, and there are plenty of legitimate freelancers out there who will work for you to help you with this. There are plenty of resources out there that you can get tips and tricks for free on. And two, pay your bills. Pay your dues. Don't don't go out there and and build a reputation for yourself and really ruin it for the rest of us. Okay, so that's about all I have to say on this subject. There's plenty more, but I want to keep this from rambling on for the next hour. So anyway, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. I sincerely hope this series has been helpful to you, and I can't wait to speak to you with the next one. Thanks.